Hello everyone, my name is Chad Wharton and I'll be doing my speech on perfectionism. Are you ever extremely hard on yourself? Do you ever feel that because you've made mistakes, it's proof that you're inadequate? Do you ever set such high standards for yourself and demand perfection in certain tasks? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you might be a perfectionist. I've considered myself a perfectionist my whole life, and I feel like it's more common in people than some may think. I feel like I had enough experience with it that I'm able to inform people that aren't so familiar with perfectionism. I'm sure that most of us here have a certain task or activity that we demand perfection in to ensure personal satisfaction. Today, I'm going to be going over the science and psychology behind perfectionism, the 3 different types of it, and the disadvantages and advantages that come with being a perfectionist. Let's dive into some of the research and breakthroughs that experts have run into concerning the subject. First, we'll discuss the science behind perfectionism. It's defined by psychology today as a personality trait characterized by high expectations and standards, along with a desire to avoid failure and harsh judgment. A perfectionist is quick to over-criticize themselves. They experience procrastination in many projects because of this incredible phobia of failure. A perfectionist is also focused on the task at hand and pays very close attention to detail when performing an activity. It is not to be compared with obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD, however, but it is a possible symptom of that psychological disorder. According to the American Psychological Association and a study performed by Dr. Thomas Curran, who has a PhD in psychology, perfectionism among young people has increased significantly in the last 40 years. Curran went on to explain his theory as to why this is the case. He claims that the popularity of social media among young adults has pressured them to perfect themselves in comparison to others, which makes them dissatisfied with their bodies or financial situations and increases social isolation. This theory should not be ignored by the younger population. The numbers are real, and the theory presented by Dr. Curran is a very logical one. As the population and social media presence among young people rises, it is important for them to understand the ramifications and psychological developments that come comparing yourself with others. Now that we've discussed some of the science behind it, we can now go over the types of perfectionism. These types are taken from an article published by Dr. Ronald E. Reggio, PhD in organizational psychology. There's 3 different types of perfectionism. The first one is self-oriented perfectionism. This is the type that leads people to hold themselves at high standards when performing. Self-oriented perfectionism is often accompanied by hard work ethic, greater productivity, and further career success. However, these are the people that will spend 30 minutes typing up a 3-sentence email. They do this with a blanket of anxiety over their head that comes from the fear of messing up. The second type is called other-oriented perfectionism. This type leads people to hold others at high standards. These people are often bothered by mistakes by others. They're traditionally very critical of others' performances and traditionally very judgmental. This is common in those bosses that like to give excessive tasks and then demand them to be performed flawlessly. The third and final one is socially prescribed perfectionism. These are the people obsessed with meeting the standards of society. These are the people that are concerned with the opinions of others and only celebrate their own achievements with the approval of certain people. This type is most closely connected to the development of anxiety and depression. While a lot of articles and studies on perfectionism tend to show a negative implication, there are also some positives to it. And this begins my discussion of the disadvantages and the advantages that come with being a perfectionist. We'll start with the disadvantages. Perfectionists often do more work than required. They often spend too much time tinkering with small details to ensure that the whole project is perfected. They spend so much time with this that they lose track of deadlines and end up turning projects in late. This causes time to be wasted and increased stress levels during the task. Another disadvantage of being a perfectionist is the physiological and psychological toll it can have on a person when improperly managed. They spend so much time being stressed and frustrated about the little things that it can lead to the real health problems of anxiety and depression and other physiological things that you can experience. Now we'll go over some of the advantages. One of the advantages of being a perfectionist is the high personal standards that come with it. This can make someone's life so much easier trying to meet the expectations of a boss or a superior. Perfectionists also tend to give 110% effort in everything they do. In our world, that can go a long way for a lot of people. Being able to show effort in such minor tasks can make you more eligible for promotions, raises, accomplishments, and you're more likely to experience less regret upon completion of a task. Let's review what we discussed today. I've gone over the science behind perfectionism, I've gone over the 3 types, and I've gone over some advantages and disadvantages of it. If you consider yourself to be a perfectionist, then hopefully I was able to help you become more aware of the negatives that come with perfectionism. I hope this speech was able to help you recognize those negatives so that you were able to reap the benefits that come with being a perfectionist while avoiding the pits that we discussed. If you do not consider yourself to be a perfectionist, then hopefully I was able to at least enlighten you on what perfectionism entails. Thank you guys so much for listening and have a great one.